Welcome to meeting number 2 of the House of Commons Standing Committee on Heritage. This is a hybrid format meeting, but I don't believe we have any participation online today. All in-person participants, please consult the guidelines written on the cards on the table. These are measures in place to help prevent audio and feedback incidents and to protect the health and safety of all participants, including the interpreters. You will notice a QR code on the card for a short awareness video if you need it. Please wait until I recognize you by name before speaking. For those participating by video conference, click on the microphone icon. For those on Zoom, I'll skip that part. A reminder that all comments should be addressed through the chair. If you wish to speak, please raise your hand in the room. And the clerk and I will manage the speaking order as best we can. We appreciate your patience and understanding in this regard. Today, this committee is meeting to discuss committee business. The subcommittee met on Wednesday, September 17th to consider the business of the committee and agreed to make the following recommendations. First, that the committee invite the chairperson and chief executive officer of the CRTC, Vicky Atreides.
Point of order.
Go ahead.
Sorry, that wouldn't be my preferred way to interrupt, but I just want to make sure this is a business meeting. Normally they're not in public domain, and so I'm just wanting to check in with you, Chair, and see where things are at with that. I notice that says public. I also notice that we have more people in the room than we should have if it is not, in fact, public, and so just checking in.
The meeting is public.
Yeah. It's a public meeting. Yep, okay. Public meeting, committee business. I think it has to be, there has to be a motion if we want to go in camera. Okay, but yep, we are in public. And so, to reiterate, no problem. We had 3 decisions that we came up to, or the subcommittee came up with 3 decisions. First off, that the committee invite the chair and chief executive officer of the CRTC, Vicky Atreides, to appear on Wednesday, October 1st, to provide an update on the implementation of the Online Streaming Act. Secondly, the committee invite the president and chief executive officer of CBC Radio-Canada, Marie-Philippe Bouchard, to appear on Wednesday, October 8th, to discuss CBC Radio-Canada's priorities. And thirdly, that the committee give priority to a study on the effects of technological advances in artificial intelligence on the creative industries, and that the committee members submit their witness list to the clerk of the committee by Wednesday, September 24th at 5 p.m. Is there someone who's willing to move a motion to adopt the report of the subcommittee? You all should have a copy of this in your inbox. Mr. Al-Sood.
I move the motion to adopt the subcommittee report.
All in favor? All right, passed. And next, you have also received in your inbox an operational budget to cover the cost for the meal for our meeting with the minister coming up this Wednesday. Will someone move to adopt the budget for the meeting on Wednesday? No one wants food for our witnesses on Wednesday? Mr. Miles.
I move, I'm not totally sure how to say this. It's my first time, but I move to adopt the motion to for the budget for the food for the meeting. Thank you.
Well done. I think that covers
I'll get better.
Okay. Ms. Thomas, did you have your hand up, or was that just the intervention that you already made?
That was just the intervention that I made, but I will put up my hand whenever there's an opportunity.
All right, then it's over to you.
Over to me. Yep. Okay, perfect. So given that it is committee business then, I would just like to move a motion that was previously discussed in June, on June 16th. And it's a motion just to adopt several reports that were drafted during the last Parliament and then didn't get tabled because of prorogation. And so there was a friendly agreement around the table that the summer would be given for members to look at those reports and to make sure that they were fine with them. And so the motion reads as follows, that given that the committee members, staff, the clerk, analysts, and witnesses worked hard to produce the report entitled The Holding of National Forum on the Media during the first session of the 44th Parliament, and given that the government did not table a response because of the prorogation of Parliament, The committee deemed that it has been undertaken and completed a study on the holding of National Forum of the Media pursuant to Standing Order 108, and that it adopt that report as a report from this committee. Pursuant to Standing Order 109, the committee requests the government to table a comprehensive response to the report, supplementary or dissenting reports that accompany the report in previous session of Parliament be tabled with the main report, and the chair present the report to the House.
Sorry, Mrs. Thomas, may I clarify that you're talking about the tech giants report?
No, so there are, no, I believe there are several reports that need to be moved and adopted from the previous Parliament. So the tech giants is one of them, but the one that I'm moving right now is the National Forum on the Media. Okay. Yeah.
Mr. Shampoo?
Si on veut simplifier le travail,
Mrs. Thomas, on a point of order?
Yeah, I'm so sorry. We do not have interpretation, so we actually didn't get to hear what he said.
Oh, that is a valid point of order.
voulez-vous que je parle un peu pour permettre? Quand on parle français, est-ce que vous avez la traduction anglaise dans vos écouteurs?
traduction.
All right, it appears that the interpretation is now working, so would you like to pick it up again, Mr. Shampoo? Surely. I hope that it's coming through completely on the English channel. Thank you. As I was proposing a little bit earlier, as we've already discussed and debated the various motions that we're proposing to adopt today, with the agreement of the committee, perhaps we could adopt all three motions, the reports of the last legislature altogether, collectively, and I think we could save a lot of time voting all three motions at once.
Consent to group the report on tech giants, the report on illegal sexual material online, and the report on the National Forum on the Media. As Mr. Shampoo has suggested, we will adopt all three motions together if we have unanimous consent. Does everybody agree that these motions should go? Okay. So passed. Shampoo.
Madame la Présidente, puisqu'on est là pour...
Madam Chair, as we're here to adopt a program or calendar for the next few weeks, we should have adopted the report of the subcommittee last week's, that is, and perhaps we could adopt a calendar. I'd like to make sure that everyone is comfortable that we're going to invite Ms. Estedas and Madame Bouchard for CBC at the dates as proposed, and then we can allow the clerk to get on with the invitations. A further motion, I believe, that we had discussed at the subcommittee last week, subject that seemed to have a consensus, and that's AI, artificial intelligence. I believe that we should begin now, in fact, to undertake the study, to study the impact on cultural industries in Canada. Rather broad field of study, if you will, and will make way for some very interesting debate and discussion. Perhaps we can open up. I had proposed 4 meetings. To my mind, 4 was be a minimum. I thought a lot of people would offer other things to be studied over the fall, but I think this is a major issue for the industry. A minimum of 5 meetings, and leaving the door open for adding a few meetings. If the committee agrees, we could go further. But I think a minimum of 5 meetings is essential. And as we have potential guests arriving at certain dates, we could work that out to balance it off. So I'd like to propose this study, the one on AI and the impact on the cultural industries. And I think we could vote on that now, and if we agree, if we adopt it, we could start it right away.
Motion, right? Excuse me, Mr. Shampoo, I'm just clarifying with the clerk because we adopted the subcommittee meeting minutes. So we've already adopted that 3rd study. And so we can absolutely talk about how many meetings we want to have. But the way I understand it, we've already adopted, we've already agreed to start with this study, which is worded in the subcommittee meeting. I think Mrs. Thomas was... Mr. Shampoo, pardon me? Okay. Let me just let Mr. Shampoo respond to my comments because I was speaking to him directly.
Sauf erreur, je pense pas qu'on avait...
Well, if I'm not mistaken, I think we had adopted the motion of the subcommittee to undertake a study, but we didn't discuss the motion itself, but we didn't discuss how many meetings over what this range of time. Mr. Genereux? Well, I'll give the floor to Rachel first, and then I'll get on board.
So I would be, I think, under the same impression as Mr. Champeau. We adopted the standing committee report indicating the direction of study, but we do have two different motions that deal with artificial intelligence, one from a Liberal member and one from the Bloc Québécois. And
I
so
don't think that's public, that we have.
both have been put on notice.
So they're in the public domain? So if there's two motions on notice, are they? If they're not public.
If I may, I think if I understand then, I think Mr. Champeau is actually wanting to move his motion to make it so that his is the motion that is passed in order to guide this study. I guess I would just ask for clarification from my colleague.
Je pense qu'effectivement,
Well, perhaps a clerk could give us some clarification on that. We had not adopted any motions concerning that. We had agreed to undertake a study on this subject. However, the text of the motion will, in fact, guide our discussions on AI. But then again, there might be some ambiguity there. So what have we adopted at the subcommittee? But we don't need to a motion to adopt a motion because the motion's already been adopted in subcommittee. I'm sorry, may I respond? Yeah. Can I propose a number of meetings, and that would be an amendment to a past motion? Or do we have a gentleman's agreement, so to speak, or friendly amendments for the rope? Well, as to the number of meetings, it's yourselves that will be agreeing on that. This will be part of the record for today's meeting publicly, but the committee is master of its own house, so who's next? Mr. Myers.
Heureusement, je crois qu'on est dans.
I think that, well, I believe that we all agree, or there is agreement, that at least 5 meetings would allow us to do a proper and thorough study. And we would agree also to the invitation of those witnesses that we mentioned earlier, but that's done. So 5 meetings minimum will give us sufficient time to draw on a number of variable witnesses.
I want to make sure that we all agree. You're next, but so we've agreed that we've adopted the motion as suggested at the subcommittee meeting, and now we're discussing any other particulars we might want to add to this motion, for example, the number of days. Mr. Genereux.
Merci, Madame la Présidente.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And good afternoon. I'm very pleased to be on the committee for this meeting with you. Glad to be here. And I'm very pleased that we have adopted one motion that which allow us to have a study on AI. I'd like to draw the committee's attention to the fact that in the Committee on Industry, we did have a study on AI and how it impacts industry. We called on a number of witnesses. Now, we would like to do a study as well on artificial intelligence with the impact on cultural industry, cultural sector. AI is a broad subject, and if we want to limit ourselves to cultural industry or cultural organizations, I think we're going to have to define or perhaps confine the definition, if you will, because it's very, very broad. Then we could decide on what kind of witnesses we need, which sectors or subsectors, and we have to make a decision very, very quickly. You gave us a date for the presentation of witnesses from each party. That's only 2 days away, so that's very difficult. Could we add other witnesses at a later date or for future deadline, if you will? I don't think I can give you an adequate list of the witnesses we'd like to hear from. There might be other organizations that make themselves known and wish to testify. I agree with 5 meetings anyway. It's an important subject. AI is already starting to creep into various aspects of our life. And I think we should adopt this motion, of course, and ask Mr. Champoux how he would define the cultural industry. But I agree with the 5 meetings. That's fine. That would give us some time. But we have to have an opportunity to add witnesses en route, if you will. If we have a deadline 48 hours from now, I think that's way, way too short a time to find the correct witnesses for correct subject. Well, as I've said, that we've already had some decisions on that at the subcommittee meetings, and we all seem to be in agreement that we would like to start this meeting and start identifying witnesses, at least those that are known to be important. We will invite them immediately, and perhaps cultural industry or cultural sector. It's up to the members to define. Well, can you give us a specific reading of that? I think it was the impact on the technical aspects of the sector, the cultural sector. Clerk may wish to read.
Sur les répercussions des progrès technologiques.
Repercussions on the of AI on that the members submit their list of witnesses.
Okay. And then did you have Mr. Champoux and Mr. Elsud? All right, Mrs. Thomas.
Thank you. Sure, I just wanted to lend our support. As Conservatives, we would be in support of defining this study as 5 meetings long, so we'd be prepared to accept that.
Monsieur Champoux?
De petites choses pour rassurer M. Généreux.
Well, just to reassure Mr. Généreux, this is the 48-hour deadline, if you will, applies to a preliminary list. And of course, we should be able to take a bit of time to reflect on further witnesses. But for the definition of cultural industry, I don't know. I think we all know who the major players are and the stakeholders. And you can invite those that you feel are good representatives. The Liberals may have a different idea, but I think we can stay within the confines of a common sense definition of cultural industry. 5 meetings, okay, that's fine. But we may want to extend at a certain point, so I think we shouldn't forget that. And yes, there have been other meetings on AI with industry portfolio, but the impact felt on the artists, the creators, the producers in every sphere of cultural creativity. And I think that we're kind of a bit late. We missed the train on this technological advances over the last decade, in fact. And I think we will learn from some of these witnesses just how far ahead or far behind we are, and they may have a very good idea of what to do about the situation. No, that's fine. We've already discussed this. At least 5 meetings, and it might have to be extended a little more after that. Mr. Généreux. I'd like to come back on the fact that Mr. Champoux, we did C27 was also an object of a study, and it ended up being trash canned. It was dealing with AI, but they dissected and removed the part that dealt with privacy rights. So we should update ourselves on what happened with that their report before we settle down to do our study. Yes, I'm listening to Mr. Champoux, and he's saying with the common sense definition, but I'd like to see something in writing at least as to what an cultural industry is. Would design a series of economic activities resulting from the marketing or commercialization of arts, recreation, and cultural activities. Artistic and cultural as seen by the public and available to them. That includes music, books, publication, newspapers, architecture. It's vast. It's vast. So if we use that style of definition without really having it in writing, we are going to drown ourselves in the material.
So is everyone in agreement that we take this meeting to 5, minimum of 5? We add that to the motion. I also note that in our subcommittee motion, we do not ask for a report or response from the government. Do we want to add this to this report? Mr. Alstud?
Oui.
Est-ce qu'on devrait l'ajouter?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, okay. No, do we need to pass? We've already passed this motion.
Yeah.
And that's it? Is anybody else? I don't see any other hands up. Mrs. Thomas?
Sure, Chair. Thank you. So I understand that we kind of have our trajectory in front of us. I would like to propose the study that might follow after AI. And depending on how long that study is, if it continuously is expanded, then maybe this one could be interjected in there at some point. And that is to do with my motion calling that the committee undertake a study on the journalism and media sectors in Canada and Quebec, including issues of fairness and competition, that the study be comprised of no less than 5 meetings, that the committee invite the Minister of Canadian Identity and Culture and the President and CEO of the CBC to testify in relation to the study for no less than 2 hours each separately, and that the committee invite other witnesses selected by parties to testify. And so I would move this motion to be passed by the committee, that this would be a topic of study going forward.
Monsieur Généreux?
J'ajouterais
Mr. Généreux, I would add to that motion, perhaps, that the government be called on to, once tabled in the House, of course, the report would require a response from the government. Well, it's fairly much a standard clause when we make up the motions for reports. I always agree when we going to make a study on media and journalism. 5 meetings, I find that good, adequate. It's going to be a probably broad subject, and we should probably call on the CEO of Radio-Canada, CBC, in relation to that. It's the public broadcaster in Canadian on the Canadian environment, but there are other significant stakeholders, media and information stakeholders. And nothing prohibits us from inviting the CEO of CBC on that, but to 2 hours just for this one witness. Well, Québécois, Videotron, Cogeco, various newspapers of journalism in Canada and in Quebec. So 2 hours only for the CBC Radio-Canada. It kind of takes the focus off the purpose of the study, focus too much on one individual thing. But I totally agree that if we want to invite any minister, of course, or the CEO of CBC, but 2 hours just for the one witness, I'm not at ease with that. I think other players in the media and journalism game in Canada should have an opportunity to express themselves if they so wish. It's not only the public broadcaster that has a right to be heard and speak out in a committee. So I would say that we should perhaps withdraw the sentence dealing with the invitation to the President and CEO of CBC Radio-Canada to testify, particularly for this 2-hour period. Leave it optional. Are we going to debate this motion as I've proposed?
And Mr. Al-Soud and then Mrs. Thomas.
Madam Chair, would this is second?
Do you understand what was
Yes.
just happened? Okay, sure. I'm going to suspend for a minute. Thank you. Mr. Shampoo, and then Madame Royer.
I'll let Mr. Shampoo go ahead, and then I may follow up after, because he did have the floor before talking about this. So
Good
if you
point.
don't mind, Chair, I'll give it to Mr. Shampoo first.
Mr. Shampoo.
Ça, c'est du respect, Madame la Présidente. Merci.
That's very respectable. I think it was kind of very productive so that we take a look and break and to discuss that. We have perhaps, I will withdraw the amendment that I had made before, and I would replace it. What annoys me a little bit is that we are reserving a full 2 hours to one witness when we're dealing with a totality of media and journalism. I understand the value of having the CEO, but still. So I'd like to modify the wording a bit. We do want to receive the Minister of Canadian Identity and Culture and the CBC CEO, but without specifying the duration of it. Currently, it says study for no less than 2 hours each, separately, but not necessarily for a full meeting. There could be other witnesses, but to be determined. The minister will come for an hour or 2 hours for the minister. That's fine. Madame Bouchard of the CBC CEO will also appear during our hearing on the report.
So I need unanimous consent to accept Martin because he had already put forward a motion. So to amend his motion, we need unanimous consent to allow him to do that. Are we all good to allow Martin to Okay.
Mais on peut le discuter.
Oui, c'est ça.
But
That he can amend the motion that he already put on the floor. Ms. Royer, how do I pronounce your last name?
Merci, Royer.
Royer. C'est à vous. Le plancher, c'est à vous.
the floor is yours, Madame Royer. Well,
Esteemed colleagues of the committee, I was actually fully supportive of MP Shampoo's original amendment and seeing great benefit in inviting others. I don't think that is off the table, perhaps just a little bit of clarity, but see great benefit in inviting CPAC, in inviting Canadian ethnic media producers associations. But pardon me if it's already off the table. Yeah.
Are you suggesting that we should add more names to the motion itself, or are you content to leave it as it is? No?
Why?
No, I guess you can. Yeah, that's right. You can invite whoever you want as a witness to this
Okay.
study, so it'll still work. We don't need to put them in the text. And I don't think I can do that, actually. I have Mr. Natumba next. Yep.
Merci, Madame la Présidente. Donc, merci, M. Champeau, d'avoir...
thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, Mr. Shampoo, for having withdrawn and then reintroduced a modified amendment. We will give a sufficient time to the minister, and then CBC could be collectively discussed with other witnesses from media sources. And I've also spoken to quite a few other members here to get
Pour moi, la seule question qui...
well, the only question that remains to my mind, will we have an opportunity with the CEO of CBC Radio-Canada, which we intend to invite next week, I think, for 2 hours? Is it necessary to have her appear later on, looking at the media from a different perspective?
Chair, I do think, I do like this from Mr. Shampoo. We've had a number of incidents in the last 6 months in this country where CBC has gone into areas in Quebec, and I can tell you in Alberta, namely Lloydminster and Medicine Hat, where they've squeezed the traditional media right out. And I do think since Madame Bouchard has hired and they've promoted. We've got reporters in Lethbridge, Medicine Hat, Lethbridge, and all over. And she was here touting that along with Ms. Tate. It is their game plan to eliminate media in other zones. And I will challenge them when they come. They've done a very good job of eliminating a 50-year station in Lloydminster, a 70-year station in Medicine Hat. That was their game plan, to hire reporters. Madam Chair, you used to be a reporter, and they have unlimited resources. So I look forward to CBC coming and answering to why they hired 30 additional reporters in specific regions where they knew the local media currently there was very vulnerable.
A few former journalists around this table, we can tell we're very passionate about this topic. Mr. Champoux, un autre journaliste ancien, je pense.
Ça met la table pour la visite de Madame Bouchard.
That really sets the table for Madame Bouchard's appearance here. I think we will probably need 2 hours to cover all the issues, but to Mr. Miles' intervention, there are a number of subjects that we can address and aim at the CBC witness. Now, of course, if they appear over the course of one invitation or perhaps a second one, but while we're in the heart of a report, I think there would be a study within the study, and we will invite once again the CEO of CBC. We don't want to start planning a future report that may not come to be for another 3 months. So we'll go report by report, and we'll see which witnesses should appear on such and such a subject. We've had some frequent flyers appear before us, you know, that have come multiple times before the committee.
Their hands up. Mrs. Thomas.
Sorry, my only request would just be perhaps the clerk could just read the motion as, or as amended, or I guess, sorry, just read, however that needs to work. Either just read the amendment or read the motion as amended just before we go to the vote.
Good idea.
Because I don't have it in writing. So my understanding is that we'll keep the Minister of Canadian Identity and Culture and the present CEO of the CBC to testify. But
Can we take out the time?
yes, for the Minister it's 2 hours, but we'll take up the time from CBC Radio-Canada. So
Should we just take out the time for both of them because we're just saying?
both of
that
them?
But there's only one incidence of time in there.
Que je peux vous
Est-ce que
proposer?
les ministres, c'est 2 heures pour le ministre? OK, c'est ça. So we keep the Minister
2 hours for the minister?
CBC, that's in the motion, but no time as a regular witness. Témoin régulier, OK. So I don't have the exact wording there because it's, okay. Yeah, I will make sure to, I'll work on it. I can show it to you after, but I don't have a text now, so, but that's my understanding.
Mr. Champoux.
Est-ce que je peux proposer une formule?
May I offer some text for that? That the committee undertake a study of journalism and media sectors in Canada and Quebec, including issues of fairness and competition, that they be comprised of no less than 5 meetings, that the committee invite the Minister of Canadian Identity and Culture for 2 hours, and the President and CEO of CBC Radio-Canada to appear in the list of future witnesses, and the committee invite other witnesses selected by parties. Essentially, we've struck out for no less than 2 hours.
All right, I don't see any other hands up to speak to this amended motion. Mr. Miles.
I would propose to amend the minister to not have to come for 2 hours because he's coming in
2 days.
in 2 days for 2 hours. That would be the amendment that I propose.
Motion first, and then he could move his, so we have to deal with his, to vote on his motion, because we already have a motion on the floor.
But he's speaking to that motion that's on the floor.
Yeah, but he's moving another motion. It's one motion at a time.
I don't think he moved a motion. I think he's still talking about the same motion.
Yep. You see, but he doesn't want the minister for 2 hours. That, not the minister at all? So that's why. So he's moving an amendment.
So we have to vote on the first
Yes,
amendment?
we had an amendment. We vote
Okay.
on that, and then he could move his. Yeah, but
Monsieur Généreux.
Monsieur Maire, je suis
Non.
désolé, moi je suis pas d'accord avec votre idée parce que
Well, I don't agree with that idea because it's the same principle with the CEO of CBC. We didn't indicate how many hours she'll have to testify for, but the minister and the CEO cover pretty much the area. We don't see them. We don't see them often throughout the year, so perhaps 2 hours. It could be 1 hour apiece, but we're going to have these witnesses at least for the 2 hours collectively. So we don't eliminate the number of hours in that particular formulation.
Mr. Shampoo's amended motion now. Are we okay with hands up, or does anybody want a recorded vote? Mr. Okay. All right, all in favor of Mr. Shampoo? I'm not putting my hand up. 1, 2, 3. Yep. And all opposed? 4. Carried. Now Mr. Miles can move his amendment to that motion. Is that right?
Could I just propose to reduce the amount of time to 1 hour?
Mr. Shampoo?
Le ministre, généralement, quand on l'invite pour
Generally, when the minister is invited for 2 hours, usually stays for 1 hour, and the officials will appear in the second hour. But in this case, one minister for an hour and the CEO for an hour. That's it. Canadian Identity Cultural Minister is her department, so we have an AI report that's going to take several weeks as well. I don't think that they'll be exhausted by coming to visit us twice, because this is a central concern to her department. I think 2 hours is okay, but they will negotiate probably, and they have to manage their time as well. So they'll be here for at least 1 hour, and I think the 2 hours in this context would be preferable.
All right, we will vote on the amendment as proposed by Mr. Miles. I think we should do a recorded vote. I think that's easier.
So, Mr. Al-Soud.
To clarify, we're voting in favor or against the amendment that Mr. Miles put forward.
Monsieur Al-Soud. Mr. Miles. Mr. Nutba. Nutba, yes. Madame Royer.
In favor.
Mr. Diot.
non.
Monsieur Généreux.
Non.
Mr. Waugh.
No.
Monsieur Shampoo.
Non.
That motion is defeated.
So now we vote on this. We have other motion. We need to move on the motion as amended.
Okay. So now, I see no other hands up. We will vote on Mr. Shampoo's motion as amended. No, oh, Mrs. Thomas, it's been so long, I forgot it was your motion. We will vote on Mrs. Thomas's motion as amended by Mr. Shampoo, and we will do a recorded vote.
En faveur.
Mr. Miles.
En faveur.
Mr.
Dumba.
Dumpa, sorry. Madame Royer.
In favor.
Mr. Diot. Mrs. Thomas,
Yes.
Mr. Waugh,
Yes.
Monsieur Champoux.
En faveur.
Yes.
Madame la Présidente, rappel au règlement, je me demande ce qui se passe dans...
What's happening with the screen, Madam Chair? Point of order, maybe, but we can see an interpreter, I believe, in the background.
It's not us.
Problème résolu.
What?
Okay, we'll switch cameras. Thank you.
Nobody else has a hand up, so I can just. Okay, going once, going twice. Nobody else has any other interventions? We will adjourn our meeting a little bit early today then.